know you're going to say something about KC Kavita, but we haven't changed this on the floor, but my PA is working on it, even if you can see that this is not the topic. So we're just using the old one so that people can see your face. But to all my viewers, it's not KC, it's GC Kavita. So Professor Dr. GK, is it GC? I'm missing it. GC Kavita, I will tell you the reason. So Professor Dr. Kawamvaran Jengala Kavita from India is an international acclaimed inspirational speaker known as the happiness woman, positive psychologist, positive psychologist, psychotherapist, psychometric test professional, teacher, trainer, QPR gatekeeper, trainer for suicide prevention, social activist for world peace and happiness, has counseled 3 to 31 to 65,000 women and adolescents in March 2022 voluntarily on happiness under the title Happiness is Your Birthright. I get that right. She's also the vice president of ISRA India and also editorial board member of Rahul Maghe Patrika, supported by India Council of Social Science Research currently. Is also international president of Department of Health, Success World One, NGO run by Queen Nadia and King of Hawaii Island up till now. She is also Central Team National Coordinator Wellness for India Coin Action Network and also Project Head for SAM VEDNA, a collaborative initiative of ICANN and NCPCR. So, permit me and join me together to welcome Professor Dr. G.C. Kavita. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. And it's my pleasure again to join you back here in Yes You Can International. So today I'm asked to talk about one of the most gravest and increasingly, you know, increasingly numbered across the globe. That's all about the suicide and the suicidal ideation and the tendencies or the tendencies which you can call today. Yeah. So it's all about how do we understand the symptoms, maybe how do we identify or what kind of questions need to be asked, and like how do we really how do we understand the behaviors of a person who's in suicidal ideation, and then what kind of questions that we need to ask, and then like how do we really help the person like who's so helpless. So these are the things that we would be talking today. Starting with, like, let's first try to understand what exactly is all about the suicide. But before that, I would like to thank Professor Nada, for giving me the opportunity to address before her. Though I've been caught up with an emergency and then joined quite late. So thank you so much, Professor Nada, for allowing me to talk. So let's go to the topic today, all about the suicide. So if we have to really understand what exactly is a suicide, it's quite a desperate move, uh, to avoid the unbearable pain or the anguish, or the inability to face the world or life, and taking the extreme step of taking away life through suicide. So this is to understand suicide in general, uh, especially in people. If we have to understand, when a person is in the desperate is in the desperate a mode of not able to lead a life, and is filled with feelings of isolation, hopelessness, hopelessness, and feels that except for leaving or taking away the life, there is no other option for the person, or there is no solution for the problem that the person is facing right now. Death is the only solution, right? So this is exactly what leads to suicide. But if we have to really psychologically understand the meaning of suicide, we know that suicide is a call for help, because taking away life is not so easy. It's the most fearful thing, irrespective of where the person is from, how old the person is, and which country or which profile and position the person is holding. Trust me, taking away life is not so easy. It's the most fearful one. So if somebody is contemplating suicide, we need to understand that suicide is a call for a suicide ideation, is a call for help, is a call for help. With the numbers growing across the globe in all the countries, especially amongst the youth, and amongst the youth, due to various reasons. The reasons could be as simple as failing in an exam, to as big as drowning in lot of debts, or having killed somebody, or have done such an offense that they feel that they don't have anything else except taking away life, to safeguard their self esteem, to safeguard their self esteem. So let us first try to understand what exactly are the various misconceptions regarding the suicide, much before we move ahead with this topic. The common misconceptions are, people generally feel that one should not be talking about suicide. Okay, one should not be talking about suicide, because it can give an idea to the other person that they don't have anything in life except taking away life. Okay, so this is the first misconception that most of us have. We feel that one should not talk about it, one should not discuss about suicide with anybody. Okay, so but what if we have to really check into the reality? We all know that a person who has taken away life through suicide has already, should have given, most of them should have given should have given some kind of clue or warning, what really warning, that either they were not so keen on living, or the best way to escape away from the problem is death, or probably there is no point in living any further. They would have spoken about these verbatims of hopelessness, helplessness at some point or the other. But when somebody is talking like this, like, people are not ready to converse or confront them with that, with the question that, are you planning to do something like that? Because they feel that they are going to give an idea to them. But these symptoms are very very clear in most of the cases when they are doing this. That is the first thing. So we need to understand, if there is somebody who is talking this, who's making statements of helplessness, hopelessness, and who's creating these things, let us understand it is time that we openly talk about it, and we don't hesitate, to talk about this with the person. That's the myth that we need to overcome. The second one, we feel that this person, there is somebody like who has grief and who has a lot of problems, and they feel that there's no point in leading a life. And we start thinking that, oh, such a simple problem, that still the person is not able to handle it and is thinking little more than that. That is another misconception. We have to understand the grief is real, the pain is real, what they undergo is real. We have to validate the emotions. We need to validate the emotions of people who are undergoing these problems. We need to validate, because the emotions and feelings are real. They are very, very real. Okay, so let us simple crazy, because we have a habit of overlooking the things. We have a habit of making the situation so simple that we feel that such a thing will not happen. But let us understand, the emotions, the feelings, the pain what a person is undergoing is real. It is truly, truly real, and it is unbearable. It is unbearable. Okay, the third misconception that generally people are think that is like, if somebody has already decided to take away life, nobody can stop them. Then that's it. Their destiny is meant to die. The destiny is meant to die. Okay. So that is another misconception. So we cannot stop it much. But please understand that we can. We can. If a person has an ideation to kill himself or herself, by talking, by giving a listen, by giving a patient hearing to the person, by trying to help the person, by making them understand, validate that emotions, we can still make them change their mindset from non-killing, from living life. Okay, so it's not that once they decide we can't do anything, we can still do so much. The whole idea of talking about suicide today is that there is a stronger possibility that a person, through proper talking, to proper healing, through proper talking, through helping them by accepting, by agreeing with them that the pain they undergo is real, and by making them take to any person, will definitely help them to become a better person. That's the next misconception that we need to become out of. Next. Okay, so most of next is like the people who are want to kill themselves through suicide, they don't want help. But please understand, as I mentioned earlier, killing is not, or dying is not, or taking away life through suicide is not so easy. It's a very, very fearful thing. Everybody wants help, because the very the very attitude of anything that is living on this planet is to survive. Not no 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 Nothing wants to die. Nothing wants to die, right from a plant to a human being. So everybody wants to live, because they don't see anything in front of them. They don't see a possibility of life in front of them. So they feel so helpless and hopeless, and take this drastic action of taking away their lives. But we need to understand, okay, that people are willing for help. People need help, because they have come to this extent, because they feel so lonely, they feel isolated, they feel nobody can ever help them at all. So this is another thing, that we need to know, that a person who wants to take away life through suicide also wants help. Not that now they are out of everything and so they are ready for a suicide. That is the next myth that we need to come out of. Okay. And as I mentioned earlier, by talking about suicide, we are not giving an idea to a person. We are rather helping a person to protect themselves, to protect their lives, by helping them and to see a light at the end of the tunnel. We are trying to help the person. So these are all the various myths and misconceptions that we have about the suicide. After this, next, when there is a suicidal thought which is ideating inside a person's mind, we need to use questioning, and we should not shy away. We should not feel hesitant. As I told you, we should not think that we are giving a new idea to a person to die. No, if there is an existing idea already, you are actually helping the person. helping the person to come out of it. A proper questioning has to be adopted. The question, if you feel somebody, before that, let me give you the symptoms. How do you recognize the warning signs of suicide? Once you recognize the warning signs of suicide, then you can start asking the person the questions that gives you a conviction that the person has an ideation to take away the life through suicide. Okay, the warning signs that we need to look out for are like this. First thing, the most important thing, or it's so obvious, is the verbal statements which a person keeps passing on. The verbal statements will include that there is no point. Why do I need to live? Who is there for me? For whom I need to live? This life is not fair to me. This is something that I don't have anything left now, and I don't see a reason why I have to lead. So if you find somebody talking or feeling so hopeless, and somebody feeling that there is nothing positive on this planet to live, and somebody saying they're so lonely, this can happen because of any traumatic incident that has happened in the family, like death of a loved one, or death of a parent, a primary and a very closely attached figure, or losing out a job, or in complete debts and not knowing what to do. Or it could be something like, there has been the person has been in love with somebody, so love stricken that that they're not able to take the idea that the person has left them. Or it could be something like they have been waiting for some good result in a particular work, and the outcome of it has turned out to be a failure, which they are not able to take. The reasons could be umpteen number. The reasons will depend upon what is more valuable to the person. To somebody, something can be quite a valuable thing, and if they don't get it across, that is the place where they start talking. They start seeing the life has not been fair to them. The life has not been good to them. There has been lot of things, a lot of concerns that the person has about the life, a lot of complaints on the life, and so the person is taking. So we need to check out for the dialects. That is the first most important thing. What kind of dialects the person is talking whenever there is an opportunity to hear from that person? What kind of talks? Are the talks depressive in nature? Are the talks hopeless in nature? Or the talks state that yes, still I can do it? This is a problem which is common with anybody, and these problems are all problems that can be solved. Okay, so the first one is observing what kind of talks that the person is giving. That is the first sign to look out for. The second one is, always planning. The person is always looking out to be all alone for himself or herself. Okay, trying to be all alone, or checking out with things that can take away the life. Something like knives, or something like hanging them, or something, looking at some tools that help them in hanging, or standing near a top, this one, and trying to see what it is, or reading something referring to like how to die, from the Google, because we are all technology driven people, referring to the things from the Google, all, the whole ideation of how death will occur. If there is somebody who's Googling and who's doing so many things related to different actions related to how to take away life, or what is the pain in death, something related to death. Okay, that is something, that preoccupation, preoccupying completely anything related to the death. This is the second thing that we are looking into, we need to look out for. If there is somebody who is doing that, we need to know there is an ideation that is happening in the mind. First is the verbal ideation, you hear them saying these things, and second is they are searching for certain things, like what is this and what is that. And the third one is losing interest in activities which otherwise they love to do earlier. because now they decided that there is no point in living. So why should they be so keen on something that is of interest? They feel that is not of interest anymore. Maybe if you have a close friend, a family member, whom has been quite keen on doing certain things, or there could be somebody like who's very fond of eating food. There is somebody who's very fond of dressing up. There is somebody who wants to go and play or watch movies, and suddenly you see that this person is does not interested anymore to do that, okay, losing interest in the basic life things which otherwise they were mostly interested on earlier. This is the third sign that we intend to look out for. The fourth thing that we have to look out for is these people, once they decide they are no more going to live, they will start setting up their life things. Like, let us say that they have some money in the bank. They go and tell the sister or a friend, I'm writing this, I'm giving this money to you, you take it, it's of no use to me. Or maybe I have maybe they have some stocks and they want to transfer these to some other friend, giving away, doing things, settling their life processes. Because I mean, when a person is living for a longer time, they usually don't do that. But when they feel that they're no more living, so there's no point in holding this. So they want to give away their prized possessions. They want to give away their valuables. They're setting their life as if it's the last day that they are living. Okay, so there could be few actions that are quite visible, so they can say this, I mean, these dresses are all yours, or this house belongs to you, I'll write it on your name, you can take it, or I transfer this, I'll do this. It's something like I don't need anything anymore, so I'm just giving it away to you. So the actions that really show that they have already decided on not to live anymore, so they just want to give away the things to the people. Okay, next is anxiety, because as I mentioned earlier, dying is not so easy. It's a quite a fearful one. It's not so easy. The very idea that a person has to take away life through suicide, that thought itself creates a lot of anxiousness. Because I mean, a person starts thinking, oh, I mean, is it going to be so painful? Oh my God, what happens? Like in case, like if a person is, let's say somebody is jumping from the fifth floor or 10th floor, in case, like if only the limbs break, and then if I'm alive again, I mean, what do I do? There are, I mean, so many questions. These are only a few examples of it. So many thoughts, so many questions, because dying is not so easy. It's the most fearful thing, most fearful thing. So they start getting fearful, in this note, and then they become quite anxious. They're quite restless. They feel so irritable, and they are agitated for small things. They start shouting at the family members or the closed ones, and they are so irritated with everything. The whole behavior is so anxious prone behavior. That is the next thing that we need to look out for. And the next one is, maybe they are suddenly getting on to some kind of high risk behaviors. When I say high risk behaviors, it could be taking too much alcohol, which they have not been doing before, or maybe getting on to dopes, or getting on to marijuana. It could be anything. Getting on to the highs, getting on to the highs, because they are not able to take the idea that they are not going to live on this, and it is their responsibility to take away life from themselves. Okay, so what they try to be on to certain jobs which are high risky behaviors. Okay, this is something that you need to look out for if there is somebody like who wants to do that. And next is mood swings, highest mood swings we are talking about. A moment they seem quite happy, and a moment they are so irritated, so frustrated, they start showing the temper tantrums all over the people, all over the place. So you see this behavioral change in the people. And next one is withdrawal. Maybe you can also look out for a person who was such a socialite, who wanted to be with the family, with the friends, suddenly now no more wants to be with the people. He's in his room all the time, all alone, ideating, thinking about the whole thing. Okay, how do I do it, how do I do it, and all this stuff. Okay, so withdrawal from the friends, from the family, from the close members, from all the activities of interest which otherwise the person was so much involved in. Okay, and then feeling, and there and next sign that you need to look out for is they take away themselves from the whole family structure or the friends social structure which they were a part of earlier. Like, let us say somebody wanted to own and say that, oh, these are my group of friends. They now no more want to talk about it. They now more, they are not keen on that. They say, "No, I'm all alone, I'm for myself." They don't own the things, the people which they were owning earlier. So because there is a hopelessness, there is a senselessness, and they know that this death journey is something that they will be taking on their own, and they don't have any support system from any side. And the problem what they face has no solution at all. There is no solution at all. Okay, so that is the next thing that we need to look out for. And the second thing, like, if you see somebody talking about, I'm trapped in this point of life, I'm trapped in this process of life, there's nothing, I'm so helpless, I'm so hopeless. If you feel some kind of negative connotation that they have towards the life, you need to understand that they are already into a problem. They're already into a problem. But what we have to understand here, if you notice, and the suicidal ideation doesn't happen just like that. It does not happen in a jiffy. It takes its time. Okay, there is a process. Mostly, if they have some psychiatric disorders, something like bipolar disorder or anything like that, or most of them get into the depression. There is a traumatic event. In this event has created a depression into a person. They have been living in this depression for quite a long time. And in this, because WHO defines any person who changes his behavior, who changes the behavior, I mean, over 2 weeks, if they have to look into, you can take it that the person is in depression. The suicidal ideation comes only after depression. It just like that doesn't come. There is a depression that is in the person that has been gaining over for some time now. Okay, so that is the next thing that we have to understand, right? So these are all the things that you are noticing in the behaviors of a person. So before that, let me also tell you, like, what is that you need to look into depression. As I told you, a person, if there is a change in the behavior since 2 weeks, if there is a change in the behavior for continuous 2 weeks, you need to know that when I say the changes in the behavior, the behavioral changes can be in the eating. Either a person is binging too much or not eating at all. Extreme. We are talking about extremes. A person is sleeping too much or not sleeping at all. Okay, a person is too much into substance abuse. It could be alcohol, smoking, or drugs. It could be anything. Okay, if there is a abusing a substance and highly dependent on the substance abuse, that's the third thing that we need to understand. The fourth thing that we have to look into is, as I told you, the person who was so keen and interested in the activities the person was doing earlier to lead the life is now no more interested in all these things. Okay, the person is too much to themselves. And the fifth thing, as I told you, the person is giving away the prized possessions which the person was not earlier to share with anybody. Okay, so giving away. And sixth one, not owning the community or the people in which they are a part of, not trying to be a part of it. They want to be all alone for themselves. So these are all the symptoms of depression you can notice. And if with these symptoms, if you feel somebody is talking about what is the point in living, there is nothing positive that I see in life. As I told you, the thought process, the expressions, the verbal expressions, what you can find from a person, and the behavioral expressions, what I mentioned earlier, if you notice that these are with the person, please note that the person is in depression and there can be suicidal ideation. And let me also tell you, though they plan to die, though a person plans to die, but it happens in a jiffy. It happens in a jiffy. Okay, suddenly, they try to, they get this trauma, so deep inside them, and it is too much overwhelming for them. They say, no, no, it's not, I cannot even think about it. Okay, so I mean, there's no point in living now. So they try out and they try out and they go, though ideation keeps happening. As long as a person is in a normal pace, and when I say normal pace, only ideating on the idea with the depression, they don't take it. But when it becomes overwhelming, that is an act when they start doing it. If you find anybody, doing these things or behaving like this, then you need to, as I told you, don't hesitate to question. You are not giving them ideas to kill. You're only helping them because they truly want. This is such a sensitive, such a sensitive thing to discuss that they don't even want to discuss about it. But if there is somebody like who can come to them, ask certain questions, that are you planning to die? Why are you so hopeless? Okay, what makes you die? And when do you think you should be dying? Be very open in asking these questions. Be open in asking these questions, because when you ask the questions, first thing that you would be doing is like they feel they have somebody to listen to them, because this is such a sensitive thing that they are not even ready to discuss this with anybody else. They're reluctant to discuss this with anybody else. So this is the time that a person should go and talk about, should ask the questions like, what makes you think? Why? When are you don't say that, no, it's a small thing, don't worry about it. When you don't validate the emotions and feelings of a person who's already suicidal in thoughts, you are not helping the person. Validate the emotions. Maybe that is a small thing for you, but for them it is not a small thing. They thought of a suicidal ideation because that's a very big thing for them. Maybe because you are not faced the problem, so you really do not know. You really do not know what it is to live with such feelings, but they're already facing it. So never ever say it is a small thing. Say them, tell them, I understand, I completely validate your emotions, I completely validate your feelings. Your feelings are real, but there is a help that we can seek. There is a help that we can seek out for. Okay. And don't say yours is not a problem at all. When you say yours is not a problem at all, it's not going to solve the problem. They still have the same emotions and they still have the same feelings. So validate the emotions of the person. That is the number one thing that you have to understand. The second thing that you have to understand from this is like, tell them there is a help possible. Your problem is real. Your problem is genuine. There's absolutely no denial in that. But there is also a solution. Let us take the mental health help. Let us think about the problem. First, let us take the mental health help. Let us take that, because there are many toll-free numbers across the different countries calling for helping for, which are available 24 by 7. So whichever country you are in, have those numbers with you, and then first seek out the help. Seek out the and try to persuade the person for seeking out help, telling them that their problem is real, their problem is not small. The problem is big and the problem is real, and the emotions and the feelings the person is undergoing are also real. They are not small. Okay. And tell them a help is still available. Help is still available. That is the first step. That you the first step would be asking the questions. Don't hesitate. Don't think, oh, he's like crazy, he talks something, and don't overlook on it. Don't overlook on it. When you find the verbal symptoms, when you find the behavioral signs, when you find the verbal signs, it is time that you start asking questions. And second most important thing is try to see that there is already always somebody with that person till the therapy is done. Because till the therapy is done, a person will seek opportunities to get into it whenever the person is overwhelmed. Ensure that there is somebody with the person all the time. And the third most important thing, remove the things that can really help them in taking away their lives, like the sharp objects, or it could be staying in the concrete tower somewhere at the 10th floor, ninth floor, 11th floor. We're talking about huge buildings, or just ensure that the person is living in a safe space. That is another thing that we have to understand. Okay. So these are all the things that we have to understand. And most important thing, whenever there is somebody for 2 weeks, if there is a change in the behavior, please notice if the person is not normal as per the person's personality. Maybe somebody's normalcy could be eating more, somebody's normalcy could be eating less. But a person who's eating less now eating more is definitely abnormal. So we need to know, only the closed ones you can understand, like what is the behavior, normal behavior, and how they have changed. How they have changed. Okay. And next most important thing, don't shame a person for his decision. Don't make the person feel guilty. Don't shame a person. Okay. Don't shame a person. Don't say that, I know we all left. Even I had bigger problems than you, but don't you see I'm living now? Why do you think of suicide? I don't you think I'm living now? Don't you think I'm good now? Don't shame a person. As I told you, the emotions and the feelings the person undergoes are valid. They are very valid emotions, and we need to respect those emotions. And here, our job is to help the person. Our job is not to shame the person. Let us always remember that. Okay. So next one, and then next thing, and if you feel that a person, your good friend, is planning for this, don't shy away, don't keep it as a secret, because it might be possible that you are not always there with the person to help him out. There could be sometimes. So tell this to your friends. Don't feel you are actually, you're breaking a confidence statement of your friend's very personal thing. But here, life is more important than the relationship. Let us not forget that. Maybe you are breaking the confidence, but you are still doing something bigger for the person to live. Once the person is normal, back to his normal self, then the person will start thinking the whole ideation itself was wrong. So first, living a life is more important. Second comes the relationships. So if there is somebody thinking it, go and tell this to the other friends, the friends who will not shame him, who will not make him feel guilty, and take it as a combined responsibility to help a person live. That's the second thing that we have to look into. Okay. And the third thing, like, we have to look into is, once you feel, be with the person and slowly persuade the person to seek out the mental health help. It could be a psychiatrist, it could be a counselor, it could be a psychologist, no matter whoever it is. But depending upon the situation, depending upon the case, see that the person is taken to a mental health professional for the help. Okay, so that is something that we need to do. And so that's so important. If you really understand the whole matrix of this suicide, we understand one thing very clearly. It is important to know how our people, our loved ones, are behaving, and it is important to observe the behaviors of a person who are around us. And it is important to note and to ask questions, and to go and seek, to go and ask proper questions, to ask the real questions, that do they have something like that in the mind. Don't hesitate, because by hesitating, eventually you will maintain the relationship probably, but the life would not be there to maintain that relationship. Here, life is more important than relationship. That is something that we need to keep in mind. So keeping these things in mind, if you find somebody undergoing a trauma and is in depression, the next thing is, it is always important to be with the person, to seek the support and to help the person to come out of it, by being very honest, open, and don't ever think that you are giving an idea of suicide to the person. No, not really. It is something like, because as I mentioned earlier, taking away life is not easy. It's the most fearful one for anybody, for that matter. I think with this, I stop about, I let me recap once again on the things that I spoke about till now. One is like, what exactly is suicide? And then understanding the different signs, the behavioral signs, the verbal signs, the behavioral signs of suicide. And the third thing is the what you need to do as a person next to the person, to really help him live, asking the proper questions, asking very honest, open questions that we are talking of. And the fourth thing, like, what is that you would be doing? What are the don'ts that you follow when you are talking to the person? Okay, so when I say don'ts, don't think low upon the emotions, validate the emotions of the person. And the second thing is, don't shame the person or make the feel person guilty of the act, like whatever the person has decided. And acknowledge that the pain is real, and the pain is truly real. And and never ever keep the suicidal plans as a secret. Never ever keep it as a secret. Tell other people as well, your good friends with whom you can confide upon, who don't criticize this person, tell them, share with them, such that the person who intends to feel, who intends to take away life, knows that he has a larger group of people ready to help him. But let me again tell you, don't make the person feel guilty or shameful about the act what he has done. Very, very important. Second thing, the emotions are real, the emotions are not fake. Maybe for you it is a small incident, but for that person that is a very big incident. So let us never underestimate the emotions of a person based out of your experience, because your experience is different, the person's experience is very different, very different. So here everybody's experience is equally as strong as anybody else's. So let us never ever do this. And next most important thing is, take them to a mental health professional, or call the toll free line, help you the person to come out of it. The therapy is important here. The therapy has to be taken up, and then once it is done, then you can leave the person. And next more, the precautions that you need to take: don't leave the person alone all by himself. Don't let the sharp objects that can really help in killing the person, because it's pretty spontaneous and such a momentary affair. And ensure that there is a person with this person all the time. That is also very, very important. That's a third thing. So with all these things keeping in this mind, and let me tell you that we can definitely save the lives. Most of the times we are not able to save the other lives because of major reason: hesitation. We don't want to talk about it. The second thing is, we feel that once they decide that they want to die, they want to die. That's it. Nothing can stop them. But please understand, suicide is a call for help. It is not call for death. So let us understand that. So when we can keep these two things in mind, that we are responsible for somebody's life as the way somebody else is responsible for our life, we can just be very sensitive about it, and we can start working on it. Maybe slowly, slowly, slowly. A time would come wherein you know that you become so experienced in this, that the moment somebody is thinking about this, like what to do, and then how to help the person. So with this, I end my talk. Thank you so much, Professor Queen Elizabeth, for this wonderful opportunity. It's always a pleasure for me to talk here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. GC Kavita. Thank you so much for your very sensitive topic that you are sharing with us this morning or this
Mm.
afternoon. But before you go, one question, and then
Yeah.
I will allow others also to ask questions. How can we campaign by bringing an awareness of this suicidal in schools? Because like that sometimes they might be ignorant of
Yeah.
this and lack of okay and lack of understanding. And the earlier we start teaching about it, even right from when they were in primary school, they need to know at least the basic, the idea, and also the way we can address, we can give them the other side, that they don't need to end their lives, or if they see any friend, or the signs, because I believe that this topic is not only for adults. It's also
Absolutely.
for teenagers, it's also for youth, it's also for children in primary school as well. So how do we need to, because we need to now start, there's some things that we need to start bringing more awareness. How can we go about it?
One way of looking at it would be like taking every opportunity, I mean, possible to at least initiate a discussion. Because when we start initiating a discussion, maybe in webinars like this, or when we go and meet up, when there is a meeting that is happening, or there is some kind of meeting up of family members together, or maybe I feel that it is also so important that the parents take an important role in talking about this, discussing about this with their children, because as I told you, most of them, they fear, because they feel that they are going to induce an idea of killing, to the children when they start talking about it. But I feel it is so important to talk about this, that and to tell the children the importance and the beauty of living, and then how every problem that is solved can lead to a path of resilience and lead to a path of growth. If the parents can start talking about it, or the teachers can start talking about it, rather than talking to the people, just when the incident happens, I think it's important that one needs to talk about it. And the most important thing I feel that is parents need to be with the children, because parents are the primary caregiver, whosoever is attached to the child as the primary person. It's important that they sit with the children, they listen to the child. As I always say, one has to listen to understand, not listen to respond, because mostly when we start listening to respond, you are not really giving a solution to the problem to the child. We need to listen to understand. That is the most important thing. Second most important thing is, as a primary caregiver to the children, the most second most important thing that we need to know is the problem what a child faces might not look like a problem to an adult, but to a child it is the problem. We need to know that, because as how an adult faces the adult problems when the person grows up, for a child, the child problems are equally authentic, equally validating, and equally the same. So let never ever underlook the problems of a child, because when they are underlooked, the child feels, okay, my problem will never get a solution, because I know it is a problem for me, but the world is not seeing it as a problem at all. When the world is not seeing it as a problem at all, then I don't get a solution. First, nobody is ready to accept the fact that it is a problem.
Mm.
So I think the most important thing, that as a primary caregiver, as a teacher, it's so important that the awareness is being spoken about, and people can stop the suicidal ideations if they feel that they always have somebody to listen to them, because listening is half healing. Listening is half healing. So there, and if somebody can say that there is somebody to listen to them, that itself is half healing. That they feel good about themselves, they feel so good about themselves. So the most important thing, the awareness is, I mean, there is no specific event that we are looking into. We are looking into, as a family dimension, as a family structure, the awareness has to be given, because the youth can equally face the problems, children can equally face the problems. And as an adult, I feel that this, you must be having some friends. So you are always, one should always think that I have somebody, I have a responsibility towards somebody's life. It could be my family, it could be my friends. The same way your friends should think about you, because this is a discussion that friends should have with each other. If you feel so low, I'm there for you to come to, and you are there for me to come to. I think this is such an important thing, such an important emotional connection, because the whole human existence is based on the connections. When they know, when the connection is validated, when the connection is authentic, when a person feels that there is somebody for me to listen to me, to care me, to really bother about me, and the whole ideation idea itself goes off. And there is nothing wrong, like, even to be very open in discussion with people, stating that if you ideate on suicide at any point of time, no, let us discuss, I'm there for you to listen to, let us do that. I think the awareness comes from the whole society as a structure, because it comes from the family. And this is not something, because this is something that just comes into a person, with some trauma, as an outcome of a trauma. So you never know, like, who is going to face this trauma, because the same problem can be a challenge for somebody, the same problem can be an end of life for somebody. because you never know like who is going to respond the way, so it's so important that we are going to talk about this awareness, not taking one particular instance. Like I think it has to be taken at every space and every sphere possible, because finally at the end of the day we are talking about a life, and we are talking about safeguarding a life. And I feel life is more important than anything else. First comes life. If somebody is living, we talk about relationships, we talk about achievements, we talk about success. But if somebody is not living at all, then what's the point in talking about it? So I think the most important thing is we are going to talk about this awareness at every sphere, at every possibility, wherever there is a possibility, and we need to know, and we need to be for somebody, and somebody has to be there for us. That's how I think we can spread this awareness.
Okay, thank you so much. One other question. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. One other question before I release you. We've been talking about suicide attempt. Okay. What about in the other way, suicidal attack? That means not to them, but suicidal. Is there anything like suicidal attack, attacking others?
I mean, I can't talk on this, but I can tell that there is an ideation that happens.
Okay.
There is an ideation. Okay,
Okay.
there is an
Okay.
ideation. Like a person plans for this.
Okay.
Okay, because when they know that the problem is too big for them to handle, that they
Mhm.
cannot handle it anymore. Okay, and they know that there is nobody to support that person, and they don't
Mhm.
have anybody with them on at an emotional level.
Mhm.
So when they know this, the ideation starts coming in. Okay, there's no point for me to live anymore
Okay, that
anymore.
is
So
attempt.
yeah, so the ideation starts coming in, and let us say that they don't receive any help from any kind of from any side, okay, at
Mm,
any level.
mm,
No, then this ideation now translates into the action.
mm,
It doesn't happen in a jiffy. It is definitely an ideation. It is definitely because, as I mentioned earlier, dying is not easy. It's so fearful. It's
mm,
so fearful for anybody, because everybody wants to live. That is the basic foundational existential truth.
mm, mm. The reason why I said that is that, like, for example, what is going on in some schools, so
Mhm.
especially in America, where somebody will just pick up the gun and then go to the school and shoot. Is that under suicidal attack or something else?
Uh, no, you cannot really call it
Okay,
a suicidal
okay,
attack.
okay,
It is a trauma that the person has been undergoing. It's
okay,
a trauma that they have been undergoing, and
okay,
there is a kind of vengeance that has been developed inside the person, and
right,
and mostly the shooting happens because there is a feeling of powerlessness that they have been facing as a child.
okay.
Okay, there is a feeling of powerlessness. There is a feeling of repression that they have undergone as a child. So they've been waiting for an opportunity where they feel most powerful, where they see that I can control, I am dominating them, they are
Mm,
under my
mm,
control. It's like trying to gain a kind of power. It's
okay.
getting a power. It's getting a power. So the
Mm,
killing somebody cannot be called as a suicide. But
no,
when
okay.
they do it, suddenly they realize that they have done something very big.
Mm,
And maybe there are some like who shoot themselves after that. Who shoot themselves after that. And that comes mostly out of fear because they don't know. They feel so helpless. That was such a impulsive decision to do such a big crime that they start realizing that, oh, I have done this. Oh, wow. Oh my God, this is such a big thing. Then they feel that they cannot
mm,
live anymore. So most of the things that they attack on others is definitely a sign of a childhood powerlessness and a childhood repression, which shows off,
right,
which manifests like this when they grow up. So they take some actions to experience that power, which they have not
right.
experienced as a child.
Right, okay. Absolutely correct. Now I can understand it much better. So we have a work to do. And just like Professor Kavita have said, the job is in the hands of everyone because it's a society that we need to start bringing the awareness more to the schools, to the societies, to the organizations, and say it everywhere to save lives, because the more, like I started my own, I started my own teaching today. I said, ignorance is the word, and lack of understanding. So if you're ignorant of it and you don't know about it, you can abuse it and you can act
Mhm.
on it in a wrong way. So, but when we start bringing that awareness, it allows people to break free from that ignorance. They will know how to action it. They will know how to respond. They will know how to talk, because sometimes some of us might not know how to, we are not sensitive enough in our talk to people when people are going through. So we might come across somebody and maybe the person voluntarily decide to open up to you, like you said, and then what comes in out of you can break the person or build the person up. At least give the person some life, give the person some hope, help the person to channel their mindset, which is very important. On this note, because I know time is running out, I just want to say thank you so much for coming back.
Sure.
Despite
Thank
the
you so
fact that you
much.
have to rush for emergency this morning, I was able to wait to this time so that we don't miss this. Imagine if you have missed this. And that is, and thank you for the notes, because I'm going to post it as well to
Yeah,
the
thank you.
WhatsApp masterclass. And if there's any sensitive questions that they ask, I will send it to you. Or maybe,
Yes, I will answer. I will answer.
oh,
I
you will
mean, because
answer.
by the time I take it up, maybe it's late in the night.
Okay.
I'll answer them tomorrow morning.
Right. Okay. Okay.
That's
Okay.
the
So
first thing I'll do.
so
Yeah,
if you can post it today, because we have two
yeah,
speakers today. So if you can post
yeah.
it today, that will be fine. If I can't post it today, probably that will be our
Sure.
weekend masterclass, where people
Yeah,
ask,
sure.
no job, and then they are reading it, and they say, I need to ask a question, I need to have this. So on behalf of YYCI and YYCI Academy and all our leaders and YYCI Global Family, we want to say thank you, because you are also
So
part of
much.
us.
Thank you. It's
You
my
are
absolute
also
pleasure.
you are
Anytime.
also our board of advisory members. So we want to say thank you so much for your valuable teaching that you always come back to teach us. We really appreciate
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
So
so
now
much. Yeah.
you can go back. Maybe you finish the emergency or you want to relax as well, maybe for a few minutes to listen to Professor Nada
Yeah.
that
I'll
has
listen to
given
the
you the
minutes.
time.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.